Aha. Yeah. Well, the Tingshaw is happy today.
Yes.
So, questions?
Um, They'll arise during class, nothing that I didn't already ask last time. So,
I keep hearing that response. They'll
yeah,
arise during class.
yeah.
How about you from
Uh,
looking at the videos?
well, I'll be interested to work on the twisting, which I may not understand at all, or minimally, or something. But I think if you're going to put your hand on my arm, that will explain a lot to me. Yeah.
I think putting your hand on my arm is going to explain a lot.
Okay. Well, and
Actually,
it's a matter of whether there is any physical, muscular. No, I mean, I understand turning. That's
yeah,
obvious.
yeah.
And if I diminish the turning as much as possible,
But that's not what you're trying to do.
yeah, okay, and that's
So it is how you are doing the turning.
yeah,
So instead of being 100% dependent on the muscles
hmm
to do it, you're going to be primarily dependent on mind, intent, and energy
yeah,
to do it. And you still, hopefully, at least eventually, will have the same amount of movement.
movement, yeah,
One of the things I think that really helps that is if you have, if you think of the middle finger as the end of a center line
hmm
in your arm. And as you might remember from the video, it's good to work on parts at a time.
yeah, yeah,
But this is, of course, related to lengthening because in order to allow the energy and the mind intent to create the turning, you have to release, you have to let go.
oh, yeah,
And then you can allow that same movement to occur, but it's very different than doing that.
yeah,
And it is a matter, I think that for me, I think one of the things, touching my arm may help you in a moment,
mm,
but one of the things that really helped me was recognizing that to start, I had to allow the arm to relax and lengthen.
yeah,
And you can let it hang down and just really let go.
yeah,
And then you're simply twisting, and it is a movement of the soft tissues, absolutely.
mm,
But it's not around motionless bones, which is sometimes I've had people think that, oh, this means you're just going to turn the soft tissue and the bones are going to remain in place. Well, no, you cannot do this
yeah,
and have the bones remain still. They will move also. So there is, in the beginning, there is certainly probably some muscular involvement. And when you get to Bruce's level, there is
yeah,
almost none.
yeah.
I'm somewhere
Probably
in
won't be
between,
there
and
for
I'll be.
another year yet.
Yeah. I mean, I will be honest, I'm somewhere in between. But just to do that, I was too, I should have heated up the basement and done this nude. So, take a hold of my arm, and so that you can really feel it. Don't. Yeah, that's fine. So when I just do a muscular movement, you can feel what's happening there. Now, if I release and begin to twist, can you feel?
Oh, yeah, I feel the difference. Yeah.
Okay. So can you describe for Jeff what the difference was?
Well, with the turning, all kinds of things are going on.
Interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, which makes sense.
Yeah.
But with the twisting, at least up to the elbow, as far as, I mean, it was just the soft tissue that I felt moving. And I could see your finger edge moving, but I didn't feel the turning involved. Yeah. So.
Good. Did that raise any questions for you, Jeff?
No, I mean, it's kind of what I understood it was anyways, but maybe when I'm there and I feel what Bill was describing on your arm, I might have another question or two, but it's,
Okay. No, that's fine.
Yeah.
My other question actually to you, because I found this in another class in the last few days, that some people were really confused about the edge of the arm and what's leading. And so do you have questions about that? Is that clear to you what I'm...
I admit that there's some confusion. I think the answer for me so far is intent. Because if I move this, the thumb is also going out, even if I'm concentrating on the little finger edge coming in.
Yep.
And when the little finger goes out, this comes in. But if I am concentrating on the little finger edge,
right,
the thumb goes along for the ride.
Yep.
Okay.
So you have to, so the point there, and you made the point actually, is that you have to be really clear about which edge of the arm you're leading with.
Yeah.
And what's kind of interesting is that yes, the energy is always moving in both directions constantly. It doesn't only go in one direction because that's your intent.
Yeah.
It's also going the other way at the same time. And in a way, that's what, though, if you think about both edges moving simultaneously, that's what's happening.
Yeah.
But we want to really just focus on one at a time, because when you start trying to think about both edges, it gets way too confusing.
Yeah. That just triggered a question I had reading the notes. That's Bruce's material? Or?
Well, they're my notes of Bruce's.
Okay.
Yeah.
The indication was that we're going to be focused on inward energy rather than outward energy.
No, we're focused on both.
Both. And I said, how can you?
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. Okay. No, we have to have both.
Yep. Okay.
While we're not working on it in this class, because of this issue, I just was going to remind you of the basic dynamic sphere?
Whoa,
Oh, you remember that?
Roman history.
Roman history. It is. Do you remember that, Jeff?
Yeah, well, I was working on it in the other class before this one, a year ago.
Yeah, right.
So we're doing that. There's a very,
So,
I haven't kept up that practice since this class, but I did it a year ago.
yeah. So, my point here is that's a place to really, if you um, you can really learn about the edges
Yeah, it's
in
nothing.
this,
Yeah,
because as you begin this, the thumb edge is twisting in, and the thumb edge is twisting out, and the thumb edge is twisting into the center of the S curve, and then the little finger edge is twisting in, and then the little finger edge is twisting out, and then the little finger edge is twisting in. So it transitions from one edge to the other in the middle of the pattern.
yeah.
So some people find that very confusing. I actually found it very clarifying. So I just mentioned it because it's another way to look at this and get some familiarity
Yeah.
with it. Because in our 8 gates, we only have one where we follow the thumb. And just to speak of that for a moment, so we've gone to Xiang heaven, and we have the twisting in and twisting out, and then as we go to the thumb, we have to have a little. What's happening is the thumb starts in and continues in halfway down, and then goes out to Kun, earth. It's the only one where the thumb edge leads in that particular practice. So you don't get a lot of chance to work with the thumb edge. So any other questions at the moment? Okay, let's do the 8 gates. And I'm gonna talk the edges as we go through. Shall I do that to you? Why not? Because this is going to come up as soon as we start to look at the form, since our stepping out is very similar here. One of the things that is actually happening before you move is that actually your entire body, but for the moment your arms are twisting in and twisting out, and that motion is very slight. And you are focusing here at the moment on the thumb edge. And then as you twist out, you're sinking in to the right. And then you begin to twist in and then twist out as you come into center. And then you're transferring to the little finger edge and twisting in and twisting out. And you continue with the little finger edge twisting in and twisting out. And then the transition to kun, the thumb begins to twist in and then twists out. But in the pulsing, the little finger edge twists in and then twists out. Really trying to feel that release, to allow there to be as little muscular movement as possible. And then twisting in and then twisting out to kan. Twisting in, twisting out. In and out. And you want to try to keep that twisting continuous, never letting things just freeze up. Then twisting in, twisting out, and in, and out. And twisting in, and twisting out. Twisting in and out. And twisting in, out. And in and out. In and out. Trying to keep in the very back of your mind the bending and extending that's going on with its connection to the scapula and spine. Twisting in and out. Scapula going in, scapula pulling out. And then twisting in, twisting out. Twisting in and out. And that in and out could very subtly continue. And then release. Questions?
No. I think when I was reasonably happy with my elbows that time through.
Mhm.
I mean, there's work to be done, but
Yeah.
um, I seem to pause when I move to the next posture.
Yep.
So that the flow continues otherwise, but when I move to a new posture, now what?
So this is an issue that goes on certainly in gods too, is how do you keep those transition points going?
Going,
So you have to find how when you get to here, it continues.
Yeah.
It doesn't, and then go.
It's not a great big thing, but I
Yep.
notice a brief pause. Okay, I've gotten here.
Yeah.
That's
And
not
that's
the
good.
point. Yeah, I've gotten nowhere.
You just caused a break.
Yes.
Anything for you, Jeff?
No, not right now. I am trying to remember. I mean, you didn't touch on it today, but you did last time, I think it was, or the time before, about shifting the weight a little bit between the bubbling well and the Shimin. Is that the other one?
Yeah.
So when I think of it, I try and do that during this eight gates flow, and when I remember to do it, it feels better.
Yep.
So I just wanted to bring that up, that was not forgotten, and that I'm sure you will remind us about it and talk about it again, but I'm probably remembering it about 30% of the time, maybe to do it during that flow, and when I do, it actually helps me. I feel in sync with the other stuff we're doing.
Yeah.
Better in sync.
It's another piece.
Yeah.
So it's the kind of thing where if you want to work on the shifting of the feet, you should just focus on that.
Yeah. Maybe that's why I only remember to do it about 30% of the time, because it's just too many things to remember.
Well, there are, and that's why the principle is separate and then combine.
Right.
So um, if depending what you can do, but if you can, let's say you can do bend and stretch and keep your breathing going and lengthening, then you can begin to focus on twisting, even if it's only twisting up to the wrist.
Right.
With it, and then adding that to the rest of what you're doing.
Hmm.
Or focus on the feet for a while. I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Right.
But if you're trying to remember to both twist and shift your weight at the same time, you're not going to remember either one of them fully.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's a hard thing to be that disciplined about your practice, but
Right.
it's kind of, you may remember that I've talked about thinking about your practice as being in two parts. One is where you're focusing on some element. Say you want to focus on shifting the weight. So you would do a flow or whatever postures you felt you needed to work on and focus just on keeping that constant movement of the dantian, that subtle movement, so that the weight is continuously shifting. Because it's not shift to bubbling well shift to Xiang, it's like all the rest of what we're doing, it has to be continuous.
Right,
And that's hard to concentrate on that if you're trying to remember about twisting, if you're trying to learn about twisting.
right. So
So,
they're both very new concepts that still require that major cognitive component before they become second nature.
yeah.
And both are still in the very early stages. So
Yep.
yeah,
And once it becomes second nature and you can add it to the other things that are already second nature,
right,
there is that transition, but then your mind is free to begin to focus on something else.
right.
There are only 16 internal
16, yeah,
elements. I
right.
mean,
Yeah,
and despite the fact that our science says that we can carry 7 to 9 different things in our mind simultaneously, I haven't found myself anyway very capable of doing that.
right. Not
Not
to the.
effectively.
I was just going to say not to our most effective way of doing things. For
No,
sure.
no.
Yeah.
So, um, do you have questions about towards the end of the forum, Bill?
Um, no, not really. I followed the videos and saw what you were doing. Just the very end, the very end.
Yeah, if we could go through the last couple postures, from play peepa and closing. I'm a little off still on the shifting of weight and the moving of the right foot at the very end, and I wouldn't mind seeing that and hearing you talk to that one more time.
Sure, I can do that. However, however, it won't work too well if all I have done is show you. Let's see. So I'll do it towards you, and
Okay.
then I'll turn it around.
Yep.
So I'm going to go back to sweep the lotus
Yep.
for some reason. Um, I'm going to do it facing you. No. I hate starting in the middle. So we go into sweep the lotus and you step to the front corner with an empty step. And at the same time, the hands have to go to the side of the neck, and the fingers are like right at the back edge. And as you shift forward, they stroke down and out. This is a Chen style push motion that is in here. And then you're coming back, you pick up the bow and you shoot the tiger straight to the back. And the trick, one of the trick isn't the right word, but one of the things to remember here is that this hand is only at the middle of the body. It's not across the body. And then as you rotate and shift back, the arms release and open. As you shift forward, they go back, and the back of the hands cover the kidneys. And as you step, they are pulling across the kidneys and coming out in fists, ready to shift forward into double cannon punch.
David, and that part, you said there's no twisting of the arms as you go into the punches, the double cannon punch? They just go straight out?
They're twisting. My elbows are moving out. You probably can't see that, but Bill can. If he thinks about it.
Yeah, if he thinks about it.
Okay, so when you get to this point, my elbows have twisted in, and as I go forward, they're twisting out. It's very subtle. It's not big, and the focus here is not on my hands, but on my coming from my scapula. That whole movement is coming out of my body. It's not coming from my hands. And then you shift forward, which releases the hands. You rotate and reset that right foot, and as straight as you can make it to the front will make it easier in the long run. And as you come back onto it, the arms are twisting in, and when you get to 100%, that left foot floats to the cat stance, and then you open in play peepaw, and then this is, in a way, this closing is kind of a little difficult at first, but you want to sink slowly, and that movement is what you're turning forward and sinking, and you're drawing the foot in, and the sink lowers the arms, and the rising of the body raises the arms, and then they can release in. And there's no body movement on the hands coming into the center.
Okay, so my question is, when you initially turn to begin going into play peepaw and you set that right foot to the front, in the past, you've set it a little bit of an angle away from the front. Today, you set it straight to the front such that when you did go into the closing, you did not have to adjust it. Is that okay to do?
As I was saying today, the ideal is that you turn it straight.
Oh, okay.
That will make it easier.
Yeah, that way I don't have to adjust it at the end. That's the way I had always done it earlier when we
Okay.
first started it.
But it depends on your body. And I will admit that very often, for me, it's on a slight angle
Okay.
because my 88-year-old quads don't
Right.
rotate quite as far as they used to.
Okay. So either way is okay, depending on what is best
Yeah.
for you.
So
Okay.
if you get to here and you have to, that foot can adjust slightly.
Right.
There
Okay.
is time and movement to do that if you need to.
Yeah, what I remember, what you had shown me as the other one, which is what you're talking about now, is that when we're going into the closing, when we rise up, we adjust it at the very end and then close. So, all right, well, that helps. That's good. Because I had always been doing it the one way, but then was started doing it the other when you showed it that way. But I can turn my foot to the front, and that makes it easier for me because then I don't have to adjust it after.
Yeah, then you don't, it's not an issue. Yeah.
Great, great. Okay.
Yes.
Would you go through it just once more?
Sure. Like that or flowing?
Just from Cannon Punch, maybe. Yeah,
Just that end part.
just the ending.
Okay. So we get to here, and it's double cannon punch, shift, rotate and reset. Continue rotating, sitting into that right foot, release the left, open, play peepaw, turn and sink, rise, close.
Yeah, I wanted to watch that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the opposite of the Yang of the Yang style play peepaw. Because in the Yang style we do this.
Mm-hmm.
Here we do this.
Yeah. I haven't practiced that, just the last 2 or 3 movements very much at all. So
Yeah. Why don't we go through that together?
okay.
So I'm going to turn around this way. So we'll start start in a left bow stance. That's fine, and we'll go into sweep the lotus. So you're going to shift forward and sweep, step empty to the front corner. Slowly shift forward, pressing down and out, and then turn left, picking up your bow, don't cross the center line, and just shift the arms separating to shoot the tiger. Then turn right and rotate to the front corner, releasing the arms and sitting back. Shift forward, the arms sweep back, connect to the kidneys, rotate and step. And on that rotate and step, you stroke because you're drawing energy from the kidneys. And that's coming in, and as you go forward, the elbows go out a little, not a lot. And then you shift forward and release, rotate and reset, rotate and sit on that right foot, touch, and that movement kind of flattens out the hands a little bit. They don't go all the way flat to the earth, but they begin a little bit. And then as you open and turn a little bit left, the hands flatten and push downward. Boom. So they're twisting out. And then you're going to rotate right and sink and rise, closing and feeling all that wonderful energy you moved around. So, question in there?
Not now.
Well, you probably need some practice.
It's a problem.
Any question in there for you, Jeff?
Nope.
Okay. Oh, good. So let's look at twisting in the early part of the form.
Okay.
So we begin focusing on the thumb edge of the arms. And I'm going to suggest to you that as you're beginning this, that you really probably only focus up to your wrist or maybe your elbows. Don't you should still be doing bending and extending of the elbows, but not necessarily twisting above the elbows. We do want to do that eventually, but one step at a time. So when you begin and you're simply standing, you do want to allow yourself to begin to be aware of the twisting in and the twisting out. And it doesn't have to be very big. As a matter of fact, it may be more a sensation for you at the beginning than an actual movement. But it can be a movement. Small. But then as you begin, you're going to twist in and then twist out to pung, in and out to G, in to Liu, in a little more to on, and out to on, complete on. And then you're turning, twisting in, and now twisting out, twisting in and out, in, out. And I'll just pause there for a moment. Questions?
No.
So clearly, as we're doing pung, we're twisting out, and it is the thumbs going out. And then as you go into G, they come in and out. And you notice there that we've actually changed. So we got to pung, and we now have, when we've done that, what edge is moving out? Little finger edge. So we started at the beginning with the thumb edge. But as we got to here, the little finger edge goes out, the little finger edge comes in and goes out, the little finger edge comes in and goes out. So we start at the very beginning with a focus on the thumb edge, but it transitions to the little finger edge. Yeah, I mean, I see it working through.
Yeah.
it's a work in progress.
Yes.
So this becomes really a much subtler part of the movement, but it's also related to, and I'm just turning this way so hopefully you can see this. It's related to the elbows going out, coming in, going out, coming in, going out. So my scapula with what the elbows are doing are going like this all the time.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not doing enough in after G.
After G.
After G, yeah. My in seems to be shortened compared to yours.
Oh, well, one of the things that here is that when you've gotten to G,
G.
that Liu is just to here. Okay, you have connected to deflecting this person, and now you're starting on, and the beginning of on is sucking their energy in and then bouncing them away, bouncing them down.
Part of the problem is that after G, I've been going like this, right?
That's why we're doing this,
Yes.
because this begins to define some of the subtleties of the movement,
yeah.
as well as the energetic movement. So remember that when the energy is, when you're twisting in, you're thinking of energy coming in from the fingertips along the inside of the arm. Going out, it's going out the outside of the arm through the fingertips. Nothing to it.
No.
You have any question there, Jeff?
No, not right now.
Okay. So one of the things I was just going to say, Bill, is to remember, it's kind of interesting. It's going back also to how you did single whip here. That this, yes, the hands, you want the body to move the arms. And what I'm seeing is yours are kind of coming up like this. And I feel like there's no intention to the movement. They're just sort of, they're supposed to come up there, so I'll get them up there somehow. So the point being that once they get going, there is intent to drive up between their arms and spread it out. And it's not a big movement. We're not doing this. It's just boom.
Well, I just obviously need to work on that because it's been there from the get-go.
Yeah, I think we've talked about this before.
Yeah.
So thinking about the fact, I mean, if you put your arms up, think about the fact that this is coming here.
Yeah.
That's what it's doing.
Yeah.
And if you come up, like that,
Yeah.
it didn't do me any good.
Right.
So there has to be the intent there of what you want it to accomplish.
Yeah.
Even though we're not going to try to fight. Okay. Yeah. I'm not into sparring with Tai Chi, at least not at this age. Okay. So let's do that again and go in, just to add in single whip, and I think that's all I'm going to do today, because I don't want to. I think we've maybe confused you enough. So begin Taiji. So twisting in, twisting out, twisting in and out, twisting in and beginning, twist out, in, out, in, out, in and out and in, turning to the right and out, in, out, in and out, in, all the way onto the left, out, all the way onto the right, in as you reset, and then out to single whip. Any question about single whip?
That's much more clear than grasping sparrow's tail.
Okay. Good. Any other questions at the moment?
Just a general question.
Mhm.
I tend to be a slumper.
Mm-hmm.
Do I need to be more upright throughout this form? Do I need to think about that?
Ideally, yes.
Okay. Because I find myself bent sometimes, and I'm thinking,
Well, because yes, because eventually one of the things that happens here, and we haven't talked about this yet, is that as you go into this, you're forming a C curve, and now you're straightening, bending and straightening, bending and straightening. So, yeah.
Yeah.
It's good to start with straight, because
Yeah. I mean, that's just a lifelong.
yeah,
If you look at pictures of me when I was 12 years old, I was.
Oh.
So.
Well, it's an issue for me too. I mean, I understand that, and it's partly my age, but I fight it all the time. So I understand. I
just
the
find
issue.
myself occasionally in the form, not tipping over, but saying, "What am I doing out here?"
Yeah, well, it leads you to being off balance.
Yeah.
Because you don't have root anymore. And when we think about martially, when when you're here, a pull takes me there. And the amazing thing is that when you go here, no, it doesn't. So it's small, very small. Yeah. How about you, Jeff? Any questions for you?
No, I've just got to practice and work on, in particular, grasping sparrow's tail. Then I may have more questions about it, because it's just a lot of quick changes of twisting in and twisting out, and
Yep.
being that it's still a strange concept, doing it relatively quickly is difficult. So
And so again, I suggest to you that initially you practice it very slowly.
Yeah, yeah,
Then you have time
right,
to make those changes, to do those transitions, because you want to find how do I make those transitions constant and smooth? How do I go from pulling energy in to pushing energy out without going in, out? Or maybe you get in and out okay, but you get to out and there's a stop. That's where
right,
we often go, ah, we got it.
yeah.
Okay, good.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great to see you, Bill. I haven't seen you in months.
I know. I don't know whether I'll make it over tomorrow or not. Yeah, we'll see.
Well, if you're here, you're here, and if
Yeah.
not, I'll
Yeah.
see you on the screen.
Yeah.
Okay.
See you, Jeff. You're going to be
All
here
right,
next week, right?
I plan to be there next week, Bill, so if you can make it, that'd be great.
Okay.